Now, let's get going. So, I've introduced my co-host. Allow me to introduce myself. My name's Keacte. I'm the CEO of Fun Inc., Even Better with Friends. We're a player corporation, and we're home of NPSI Rocks. You will have noticed that you had flyers in your swag bags. Hopefully you've had a look at that and bookmarked the Discord site and so on. I started EVE in 2004, and I took a PvP basic class run by Agony Unleashed. Who's heard of Agony? Yeah, there you go. Come on, a little bit more. Now, and I've been hooked on PvP ever since. Yesterday, actually, pop fact here, it actually marked my 7,000th day in game. I've never been away from game. I've always been subscribed. I was disappointed that my name wasn't on the list this morning. God damn it. And I've actually been playing roughly 44.3% of my life. And so, interesting fact again, outside of my marriage, my family, and Metallica, EVE is the longest relationship I've actually had in my life. I've run more than 1,000 PvP and NPSI public roams, and to date, Fun Inc. is actually the only EVE partner group. I'm a veteran of 7 Alliance tournaments, 4 as a line member, and 3 as captain of the Ancients. We were the team last year that walked battleships at 0, and we won, and much to the commentators' surprise. But we were also we've got the dubious honour of this year being the first team eliminated, and I lost our Bargast in, I believe it was 32 seconds. So it was excellent piloting, and I've got all the logs, and it was horrific. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Now, in EVE, there is a powerful force, and it is community. It goes beyond your screen. That force is obviously its community. Now, it conveys a sense of togetherness, positivity, and camaraderie. And for me, it's shared experiences, and it transforms what could be a solitary pastime into a vibrant and social adventure. Now, for me, it feels like a warm hug. I give out warm hugs, and I like doing that. I look forward to fleeting up with people. I look forward to chatting on comms. I look forward to being in fleet with you. And amidst all of the grandeur of EVE and the complexity, community actually elevates this game and the online experience. So what is a community? I think that fairly sums it up pretty well. In its simplest form, a community is a group of people who share an identity-forming narrative. Now, this common bond, this golden thread, it's what connects people. And you can see the connections coming. We all share this narrative. It's something that is so important to us that it defines what we are and what we are in game. We, you, us, however you say it, we are a community, and we all share the same narrative. Fingers crossed. It's EVEOnline, obviously. Oh, sorry, it's spreadsheets in space. Now, is it gone? Click. Okay, sorry about that. So communities are critical for our personal happiness, and we as humans, we thrive on social connection and social interaction, and we thrive on having those meaningful ties. Now, that belonging that is created is through, how many people here have you met through EVE? I mean, you all know each other. I know these guys, this is the Ancients, this is Fun Inc., and there's other guys, I recognise the T-shirts. You all have your own communities. Now, how many times have you laughed with your Corp and Alliance mates, and you just stay on comms for an hour after a fleet's finished or after a mining op is finished? The community drives everything that we do. It's not just pixels. It is, you thrive on those social interactions. And EVE becomes a more vibrant community on the basis of having an engaged community. So what 5 words does community mean to you? Shout some out.
Friend.
There you go. Come on, some more. Hit me with some more.
Loves.
I didn't hear that one.
Loves.
Yeah, there you go. Now, here's what around 100 players said on our Discord. And there are some great answers. Party, banter, good times, together, new laughs, new friends, laughs. Now, there were also some quite, I think, quite thought-provoking words. Bonding, purpose, strength, achievement, family, mental health. These are all really, really absolutely critical for us. So is community, is it friendship for you? Is it help? Is it support? What does it mean to you? I urge you, the next time you log in, obviously once you get back from Fanfest, paid off your credit cards and so on, next time you log in, just pause for a moment and think about what you actually get, what you get from playing EVE. Now, the EVEOnline community plays we have a crucial role in shaping the game and making EVE a truly vibrant experience, a rich and engaging experience also. What are the 5 most important blocks that form the basis of this? Collaboration and teamwork. EVE is a complex, vast game. We all know that. We've seen the cliff top and hills and so on and so forth. Put your hands up. I can't see you all, but put your hands up if you play EVE because of these friendships. I know I do. Yeah, that's 70%, I'd say, straight away. EVE is even better with friends. That is the reason why that is our corp ticker. That's the reason why I named the corp that. Community allows people to collaborate and work towards common objectives, that common thread that I mentioned earlier. And working with others to create those greater achievements and success, it gives you more success than that of a solitary player. It aids in retention, it's greater satisfaction, it aids you having greater resilience. As I mentioned, there's no meow. We crave social interactions in the same region of our brains that where we crave food, and we experience social exclusion in the same region of our brain where we actually feel pain, so physical pain. EVE is a social platform. The communities enable players to interact with others who share the same passion, the same drive that we all have. And whether it's through engaging in chat channels, starter corporations, NPSI groups, or nullsec blocks or what have you, the community allows players to exchange ideas, to develop those connections and thrive, really. And it makes the game more meaningful. And it takes you in. Last year I spoke at Fanfest. It takes you beyond your comfort zone and into a region where you're happy and you enjoy something. Now, as everyone knows, mentorship and leadership and learning. EVEOnline has that steep learning curve. However, the community itself acts as a valuable resource for mentorship. EVE University, the oldest, largest in-game training corp. They've trained more than 25,000 new players. I find that incredible. Look at my old corp, Agony Unleashed. We actually ran the PvP Basic University class, and we had 10,000 graduates from that. We've also got, obviously, Redemption Road with Grey Gal. Everybody knows Grey Gal. Sadly, we don't see many fleets from her, but the basic principle is there. Running NPSI roams and for new bros, to get people hooked on PvP and to get people out and about and engaged in the game. And obviously, more recently, on USCSM, obviously Kshal set up EVE Rookies and maintaining the same sort of principle. New bro orientated, player driven content. This is what drives this game. These groups allow for learning, they offer experiences at the end of the day. They're getting better. So one of the defining features of EVE is its player-driven content. We all love player-driven content. Let's just break that down. The actions and decisions of players in game drives this game. It has an impact on the game's economy, its narrative, its politics. You could list 20, 30, 40, 50 words about it. Each player has, everyone has the power to influence the game's landscape. And leave a lasting legacy. And we all do. We all genuinely do. We drive the content. We drive the conflicts. We drive the markets. We drive the strategies. We drive EVEOnline. I know the devs obviously have quite an important part, but yeah. Now, now, a sense of belonging is crucial to our life satisfaction and our happiness and our mental well-being. That sense of belonging adds meaning to your online experience. You can't take that away. It's there. Joining forces within a community gives players a group to identify with, a shared purpose, and it fosters that sense of loyalty, camaraderie, and so on. And how many, I know we've got a couple of FCs here, there's guys over here and whatnot. That forms part of your identity in this game. And you can't walk away from that. You cannot do it. The fact, just any person that has a role within a team, that is your narrative, that is your belonging and your identity. So these 5, so the community in EVEOnline is essential for collaboration, socialization, learning, doing, and shaping the game that we love. We wouldn't be here at Fanfest, hundreds of miles away from home, if we didn't believe in this game. Community creates that spirited and immersive environment for us. Now, when we are not connected, people feel isolated and lonely, and we can strengthen our resilience by creating social networks. And I was a bit resistant about talking about COVID and pandemics and so on and so forth. It's a bit, buzzkill and whatnot. But just pop your hands up really quickly if you felt isolated during COVID. Yeah, that's probably, 40%, 30%, something like that. During the course of the pandemic, I actually received numerous messages from people sort of saying how much the fleets that I run, that we run, that the community runs, actually means to them. And it helped them through quite a trying time. People were isolated, they were lonely. But there's no walking away from that. I would urge anyone that is thinking about doing something to just do it. Set up a community. It doesn't matter what it is. If it helps you, it will help others. I know personally, one of the most rewarding things I've done is set up Fun Inc., and the NPSI Rocks calendar and so on and so forth. People that log into our fleets and support us, it blows my mind that it's a two-way thing. They love coming to the fleets, I love running the fleets. It's the same. It'd be the same for Varian, it'd be the same for the guys in Bombers Bar, and so on. Now, this brings me nicely onto the title of our presentation, almost like we actually had a plan. Now, within the community, there is the you and I. Content creators provide the content. They drive people to log in. If we didn't have content creators, we wouldn't have a game. We would have a game, but we wouldn't have people logging in. Yeah? So this is where you guys come in. Log in, get in fleets, go out mining, go out, do what you do and enjoy it, and keep the community vibrant. The bedrock of EVE is our social experiences, and real experiences with real people are at the heart of the game. Our community pulls us together, where other communities push away. Again, EVE is real. Community in EVEOnline goes beyond the strategic advantages that it actually offers, and it transcends the virtual world. In the faces of challenges, setbacks, or failure, we rally together, we help out, we help people, we offer support, advice. Just look at Plex for Good, look at Broadcast for Reps. These are community-driven things that help us. It brings us together. Now, as I said, we're hundreds of miles away from home. The bonds that we form within EVE, we share those triumphs together, and we learn from those failures. Which brings me nicely onto my favoured motto of the Corp. Fly together, win together. That's our Corp motto. Through the power of community, EVEOnline becomes a platform for personal development, personal growth, social interaction. You can list off hundreds of things. So next time you're online, like I said, just step back and look at what you get out of the community and how you actually benefit from it. Which leads me very nicely onto our little website. And it's the only plug I'm going to do, really, for the community that I run. We launched in 2020. It's NPSI Rocks, and it showcases 20 of the best NPSI content creators out there. I acknowledge that there are other content creators out there. If there are content creators that want to get onto the calendar, just DM me, and we can sort it. We created a centralized, visible, and open calendar that promotes a variety of content, and to allow people to create connections and engage with other players. And go check out the website. I've done a really, really quick video. It's like 15 seconds long. A lot of people that watch the AT will have recognized it. All my contacts will be on the last slide. If you want to reach out, just drop me a message. And I'll be out in the bar having a drink later on if you want to chat. So here's a quick video. Thanks for listening. I'll be passing over to Kshal next. Sorry, I nearly got that wrong. And yeah, enjoy this video. There you go. There's all my contacts. If you want to contact, please do so. And I'll pass you over to Kshal. Oh, actually, I'm getting water.
So is this on? Yeah, perfect. So I'm Kshal Aideron, and I'm the CEO of EVEOnline. And my part of the presentation is building the community. So this probably needs to be updated now. But I got my start in EVEOnline 3.5 years ago. And the very first thing I did was found Greygal with Redemption Road, and I started scouting. Then I joined Fun Inc., and within 6 months, I was FCing, thanks to people who threw me under the bus. From there, we started doing our own New Bro roams. And then, it was about 11 months in, someone wanted me to do something with incursions. It fell through, and kept doing New Bro stuff. Also stream and do some videos. But in 2021, everything changed. The community decided that I'm not going to get away with not doing incursions for New Bros. And it came around and we founded EVEOnline. I already started a website, so we moved on. And EVEOnline has grown. We are now 1,700 people strong. 2.5 years later, I think. In real life, I am a marketing and SEO expert, and I'm also a community manager. So this kind of goes into building the community. So who here is thinking about building their own community, or is in the process of building a community? Anyone? Okay, perfect. The very first thing you need to look at is need. Do we really need another New Bro Corp that is sitting in Jita spamming New Bros? Probably not. We got plenty of those. Look at the community and see what is actually out there and where you exceed. Because that's where the community is going to grow. EVEOnline needed something for New Bros in the incursions, and later in mining, and later in forward bases, and wormhole routing. So that was our secret success, finding something where we were needed. So, identify the untapped opportunities in the greater community. Pinpoint what's missing. Offer a distinctive solution to the gap. Provide a compelling reason for players to join. Leverage your personal strengths. So everyone sitting here has some sort of strength, something that you're good at in the game. It could be, ship spinning in the station, but chances are you actually know something that you can pass on to somebody else. Make sure your community is about something that you're passionate about. There's too many communities that were a great idea. There was an Abyssal group not too long ago. Great idea. It's kind of puttered off into nothing because they just burned out. So make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Leadership. Sorry, no sound effects from me. Establishing a leadership foundation. This is the very first place that you're going to decide the flavor of your community. Your leadership style. Some people have kind of a communal leadership, so there is no one point at the top making decisions. Everyone is making them together. Then you have the democracy, the community decides. Then you have the CEO that makes all the decisions. There isn't one that is better than the other. You have to decide what's good for your community. Surround yourself with equally passionate leaders. Honestly, I'm passionate about what I do with New Bros, but my leadership underneath me is equally as passionate. So when I start to burn out, I can tell one of my leaders, you need to do this for me, and then we can keep it going. Implement contingency plans for decision makers. Look back at the last 3 years alone. How many communities have absolutely imploded because the decision makers went AFK? They're no longer in the game. I can sit here and I could probably rattle off 5 right off the bat. Always, always, always have a contingency plan. That way your community is going to thrive even if you can't be part of it. Regularly evaluate and reflect on leadership effectiveness. It's not static. There is no one way. Sometimes you think that you're going to go this way with your community, but your community is going to go that way. Roll with it. Be flexible. Don't say this is the only way. There's too many communities still in EVE right now saying this is it. And the community just kind of says, we don't want that, and they go find somebody else. Be part of the community yourself. Again, let's think about some of the communities out there. How many of your CEOs actually fly with you? How many of them actually log in? Be part of the community if you're going to create it. Be there to support your people. It's just like a CEO of a company, a manager of a company. You want to see the people that are, working for you, and they want to see you. Come up with rules that are flexible and make sense. This one is a huge bugbear. There's a couple communities that I've tried to be part of, but I wasn't willing to quite sit down and do paperwork. I wasn't willing to do tests and things like that. So think about the rules that you're going to put out. Decide what atmosphere you want in your community. Start with the minimum amount to achieve that atmosphere. Don't try to fix problems that don't yet exist. And if a rule becomes obsolete, get rid of it. The problem in a lot of communities, and even companies, is they just try to fix things that aren't broken. Just don't, stop. Scale your community as it grows. This was almost a trap that I fell into. When EVE Rookie started, not only were we doing the open community concept, we wanted to become a corporation too. We wanted to become a New Bro corporation. That takes a lot of work. I realized that probably about 3 months into it, that I didn't have enough of me to go around to all the different projects. So I pulled it back, scaled it just to the incursions, and from there, someone stepped up and said, I want to do forward bases. Someone else says, I want to do mining. And then we can go and we can grow, and we can extend those tentacles out into other regions. But always start small. Adapt an organizational structure and reinforce the community culture. Empowering your community. There, again, think back to different communities you've been part of. How many of your CEO, you have to ask permission to take a fleet out? Or you need to ask permission to go into a different area of the game. What you want to do as a leader, or in your leadership group, you want to empower your players. We want to see new FCs to come out. We want to see people trying new ideas and new things. Your community is your most valuable asset, and you want to give them room to take ownership. Matter of fact, it was just 2 nights ago, I looked at our Discord, and I saw one of my very reluctant FCs. He actually stepped out, and he pinged a PvP fleet. This was totally unexpected. He did that because he felt comfortable, because he knew no one was going to go and say, oh, stop. You shouldn't do that. You should have asked permission first. He went. It was a success. That made me like the proud mama bear. Identify your future leaders. When you're flying with people, you know who's going to be that next FC. when they're picking up, if you get blown up, they pick up and they start calling targets or they get someone safe. Those are the people you want to identify and you want to start talking to and you want to start grooming and you want to get ready to give those wings because those are the people that are going to be your stars. Encouraging your members to take an active role. In EVE Rookies, we're always encouraging people to help out. I have another FC, and he has a pretty severe disability. He never thought that he was going to be able to FC. In order to move his mouse, he actually has to blow into a tube, and he does a lot of voice commands. Today, not only is he FC, not only is he leadership, but he also moves all of our incursion ships from focus to focus, and he dual boxes. These are all things that he never thought that he could actually do. And give them the tools that they need to be successful. We don't trust people because of the nature of the game. We don't want to give people directors. We don't want to give people roles in Discord. We don't want to give people other things that they could really mess up your group or corporation with. But sometimes you have to trust someone. Giving them the tools that they need to be successful, whether it's those roles or ships or ISK, that's how we're going to get content into the game. And EVE Rookies is the proof. So this is EVE Rookies as of about a month ago, our monthly average. We did 21 incursion fleets with 32 new pilots, 4 FOB fleets with 5 new pilots, 5 mining fleets with 15 new pilots, and these are all pilots that have never done an EVE Rookies fleet with us, 2 mission fleets, 4 ratting fleets, 2 PvP fleets, and that ends up being about 34 fleets that we stood up with about 70 unique people coming through. And that's how it's been for the last year. So what you saw up here isn't the end-all be-all, but this is like the TLDR of getting community up and running. So now we're going to figure out how to maintain the community.
Cool, is my mic working? Uh-oh, the silence. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear myself feeding back. Hey, so I'll talk about myself in a second, but yeah, we've now heard about, I guess, what a community is. We've spoken about how a community can be developed. What I'm going to talk about is something near and dear to my heart, and that is actually, I guess, the enduring nature of some communities. And I'll talk about why I'm the dude doing it in a second. So who am I? I'm a wormholer, by the way. I'm an Aussie. I drink beer. So I thought I'd do that and just spill all over the stage. Make a mess. And that's who I am, right? So why am I talking about the enduring nature of communities themselves? So I actually see myself as quite a young player. Like I haven't even been playing EVE for a decade, which is probably half what everyone else is in. So you can see, wait, do I have a laser pointer? Yeah, Sin gets born here. And all of the communities I'm part of in some sort of role existed before my character was, kind of even out of, the rookie system. You can see the little red triangles there is sort of where I got involved in those communities from be it up in Red Frog down to exit strategy, sort of where I'm sort of known to be most of the time. A little bit of Bombers Bar, but we're talking, I'm an F1 monkey in Bombers Bar. I'm attending EVE Down Under, things like that. And it's not until the stars that I get involved in some of those organizations at a leadership level. So not only am I younger than the organizations, but it takes me a while to get into them. Definitely those that are going to be down under though, EVE Down Under, 17th of November, come along. Yeah, buddy. So I've only got a couple of slides that I'm going to talk to, which will allow us to have plenty of time for questions. So if you've got questions that are rattling around your brain at the moment, for some of the other guys, get them primed. But the first thing I want to talk about is if you do find yourself stepping up into a community that already exists in a leadership role, the best thing I think you can do is probably look at why are the people that are in that community doing whatever it is they do. If you can, you've got your Simon Sinek, start with why. If you can kind of ground base your organization, your business, your corporation, your community, whatever it is, from that, you'll probably find that it's pretty easy to, I guess, get the momentum and continue it to go. There's a couple of things I've put up there. There's 5 of them. So certainly your group, whatever it is, will have a reputation for doing something, whether that's gate camping or hot dropping people in low sec, if it's just owning some huge empire in null, or if it's evicting other wormhole groups around the place, or it's mining in high sec, whatever it is. You'll have a reputation, you'll be known for it, and it's very, very hard if you step up as a leader to try and alter that reputation particularly quickly. So I would say find it, embrace it, go with it, and if you do want to change it, work on it later. You'll have affiliates, whether they be frenemies, whether they be enemies, whatever, getting in, networking with them. Diplomacy and that interaction and communication in EVE goes a whole way into most leadership's daily life. So even if you're not logging in, you'll probably find that Discord, Slack, whatever, is pinging all the time. I can't even imagine how many messages I've probably had while I've been here presenting and the like. Time zone is important. I'm an Aussie. Naturally, if I try and force myself into another time zone too quickly, it's not going to work particularly well. Whatever it is your groups do, I mean, I've spoken about the hot dropping, or if you're rock wall mining, or if you're capital produce, whatever it is, again, it's very hard to steer the ship somewhere else too early because your community itself exists for a reason. And the last thing is the third-party tools. So it's probably, I would say, widely understood, but probably not widely acknowledged, is how many third-party apps, be they TeamSpeak, Discord, Slack, Mumble, whatever it is you guys are communicating on, is a massive deal. And trying to alter whatever it is, or maybe it's Tripwire or Pathfinder if you're a wormholer, trying to alter them might not work, and you have to kind of steadily bring them in to the community. So we have heard a little bit about some of the things you should do as a leader. I got some inspirational, things I just Googled, like, leadership and picture, and thought I'd bang them up. I mean, they look pretty. But really over here is what I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to dwell on them too much because I think a lot of them are, I guess, motherhood statements or self-explanatory. But it is really important that if you're a leader of a community, you do communicate with your people. And not only talk, like I'm doing now, but also perhaps listen. Sometimes you can learn a lot about your community if you just sit in comms and let your dudes talk and figure out what it is they want to do. I think so. Like we did say, Kshal said, like log on. I would say yes. I know there are some groups that necessarily don't have their dude or dudette that's in charge or their leadership log on, but certainly it might just be show up. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Like actually engage in your community. You'll find that goes a long way. Certainly delegate. There are far too many leaders that should still be around in EVE that have just burnt themselves out from a lack of delegation. So it's something I'm really bad at. Quick to discipline. If you've got issues growing, try and nip them in the butt nice and early before you get too far. And the inverse or the like is to reward. So if you have people that are stepping up, putting the hours in, you mentioned the dude that moves all the incursion fleet fits around the place. Like time is a massive resource that no matter who you are in this game, you only get 24 hours of it a day. Most of us have lives. Sometimes I wonder if I do because I spend way too much in EVE, but work, family, and all that sort of stuff is naturally, or should come first. And then whatever people have got left, they put into this game, and it is amazing to see what some of the players that aren't necessarily in leadership do. So reward those individuals. Have a plan. Don't just kind of sit there. Probably the worst thing you can do is go into what I would say the defense and do nothing. Like have a plan of attack. Like start doing stuff, and you'll find that the community grows. And certainly make mistakes. The inverse, I only put a few down. I only want to really touch on that last one is I would really encourage you if you want to maintain a community you've taken over is probably don't use it for your own gain or steal from them. You'll probably find the community will either get rid of you or it'll implode. There's some really good rock star news articles that are out there about, a new leader steps up and then it's like, and it's all mine. So, that's EVE, I guess. And then if I've spoken to the leaders, I guess, if everyone can be a leader, that'd be great, but you need followers. So I would say for those of you that are in your corps, if you want to take away a whole bunch of stuff from this presentation and you don't necessarily want to lead, and that's fine. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can hear, like interacting with the community, just be on comms, run activities, events, social stuff. Like I have a dude in my corp that generates these once a month, right? He actually grabs someone, he interviews them, he learns their EVE story, learns some fun facts about them, and then we put them up. And so everyone knows sort of where people are from, like what they do, their favorite things. And then we've got sort of, the leading PvPers each month get added to the list. So, again, we've got all the countries kind of in exit strategy. So if you, for that month, have got the most kills, someone puts it together, gets you on there on that terrible, I think like Windows background or whatever it is. And and the lines are long, and you can see we're all like holding hands, and oh, it's so nice. Except for, I don't know what's going on there, it's like a leg rub. Doctrines, like getting in there, I mean, if you're an alliance tournament ship, like sort of team, having some of that. Anything you can do, like try to take it away from the leadership, because again, leaders are particularly bad in this game at delegating. So if you can do something and sort of bring it forward, you'll find that the community will grow. Definitely have stories. The amount of times I have sat on comms, probably drunk most of the time, or someone else's, and they're just rattling some story about something happened in this battle in 2006 or whatever, and it's just like, you just sit there, and it's just amazing to be on comms with these people, right? And some of them aren't even playing the game. I have a guy that he drives a truck, right? He's not always able to get on the game with us, but he definitely puts Discord in. He'll be just driving this truck for however many hours. He's just on Discord, just listen to his PvP, listen to his chat, listen to his mine or whatever. I'm very, very tech incompetent. So I rely on other people in the community to sort of have things like your Discord bots or your Slack, or be able to get me onto other comms, because sometimes, you're interacting with multiple fleets. And again, anything that can take the burden off me trying to click my monkey brain that doesn't know how to do programming or data or whatever. Somebody's like, Sin, just click this, like it'll just get you in there. Boom, good to go. Like really big thing. And then the other one is, if you want your community to grow and be known, like communicate, right? A lot of us hide behind sort of different pseudonyms online, and that's great. But if you can bring your group forward, you'll find it will either get a better reputation, whichever way you want to go, and certainly develop from there. So that's my shout out to you guys if you're going to follow. And then my last one, if I'd be forgetting someone, would be CCP. I'm not going to ask them to answer the questions, and I know that some of the devs are in the room, and I'm sure some will watch the recording later and probably never invite me back. But I would say content creators in EVE are different to other games. So I would say that all of the streams and the things that people watch and the YouTubes are great, and it's great that we have that community partnership. But I would say that we're probably missing a trick on the content creators, those people that do stream, which absolutely in gaming terms they are, but in EVE, are they the people that behind the scenes are putting in the hours that actually involve the fleets getting undocked? Are they the people that have the setup for the response fleet? Are the people that are putting in the work for the Alliance tournament team or newbie groups or NPSI? I would say those individuals, I think you kind of mentioned it right at the start, is without those people, I mean, EVE would absolutely exist, but I'm not sure if it would flourish like it does. So who are they, and how are we retaining them without having them burn out as their family lives and their jobs take away from them? And then if we aren't going to retain them, because we won't retain everyone, how are we growing new ones? So how are we getting I can't remember, I was in that presentation at the start, we were talking about, there are some 13 to 17-year-old dudes and dudettes that are now playing EVE. How are we developing them into the content creator in 3 years or 5 years later? I spoke at the start, when I joined in 2014, 2015, I had no idea what was going on. I was like sitting in the corner at the player meetups and the like. I was quiet on comms. It took me about a year from creating my character to get to Bomber's Bar, and I created it for that reason. Like, how are we growing these people into what are effectively running these communities? And then the other thing is, like, why are people logging in? How can we get them to do that more? How can we get these content creators to actually put in the effort to find that raw call, to ping the Kikimora fleet or whatever to get them out there? And I would just say that's probably my final point, right? If I had to sum it down to one thing, is people in space is good. To get people in space, it's generally pings. That's what I've found. And things in space is what gets the pings. Help, I've been tackled, or help, I've got something tackled, right? So that is where I kind of wanted to get to for the presentation. What we are going to do now absolutely is open up for some questions, if we've got time. I don't have my watch on. How are we going? Great. So, thank you. So I don't know if we have a really cool, oh, there we go, that'd be a good look in the background. Yeah, so if there are any questions, please throw your hands up, and if it's directed to one of us, all of us, happy to take some of them, or none of them.
EVE is a game where trust is a resource to some extent, and what we're talking about here involves placing a lot of trust in people. How do you manage that element of growing your community with the balance of trust?
So the question is, you have to repeat it for the stream. So effectively, EVE is a game of trust, which can be lost or gained. And I guess the question is, how do you retain it, or how do you accept the risk of it? How do you
manage the risk of it?
Yeah, sure. One of you guys want to throw it out?
I think it's getting to know the person, and it's actually right. With Fun Inc., people that fly with us as an NPSI community, I do no recruitment. They just join because they just fly with us. It's like we have frequent flyers that, I mean, I've had people that said, oh, I'm never going to join a corporation. I don't want to do that. Da, da, da. 8 weeks later, 6 months later, a year later, in some instances, they join the community. They join the corp, and they become FCs. So they then have access to certain privileged channels and so on and so forth within our Discord, and within our kind of Discord channels and whatnot. That trust, you gain it, or they gain it rather, just through interacting with us. It's you read the circumstance. I mean, that to me, it's about the person and the individual. What do they bring to the table, and what can we bring to the table to them? That's, I mean, I think Kshal.
Yeah. So with Eve Rookies, we had the worst thing that could possibly happen to us happen within 3 months. Someone ran away with 20 bill worth of incursion ships. I mean, it was pixels. That's where we quickly learned that we need to separate assets. And now we have things separated in a way that when someone's a JFC, that they get a little bit of access, and when they become a leader, we hope that they're not going to run away with, you know, a lot more than 20 bill worth of stuff. But yeah, you know, it's going to happen. Have a contingency plan, you know, for when the worst happens. And when it does happen, you're going to realize it's really not that big of a deal. You fix it and you move on.
Yeah, and I would, I don't have as much luxury to be as trusting. So both, I guess, as a wormholer or dealing with people's real life cash when I run Eve Down Under, right? So I guess probably easier in real life. We're governed by some pretty strict laws. It's easy for me to do. So that's fine. In game, I mean, yeah, it takes time. It takes a really long time to develop the trust, and it's absolutely critical in the leadership circles as well. And yeah, I don't actually know how I can answer that question. How do you manage it? I think you always need to have, I guess, a backup plan. So I know there are many corporation leaders that have, you know, ISK in the corporate account, but then they've got an alt. And that alt, that is, you know, that's their backup set of cash. So, you know, if they will lose everything in the blink of an eye because there was a disagreement at a leadership level and someone took it all, they can replace it. I know other guys and girls that don't have that, and they are probably taking a risk. And I guess that is what Eve is, right? Like, some of the things that keep people like probably you and I, Volk, logging in is the fact that there is that element of risk and chance. So, yeah, I guess be hyper aware of it would be what I'd say. Yeah. Any other questions?
Actually,
yeah.
If you put the checks and balances in place, you will create that security. That's you, if that makes sense. Obviously, the person you're having to trust, that's them. Mud sticks. We're all in a community that it's quite, although it's hundreds of thousands, you know, thousands of players and whatnot. Mud sticks, and that goes with them to the next. So, you know, everybody uses Reddit and so on and so forth. So that all you need to do is just post, well, this person did this, that, and the other, and that's them. That's that character burn. And yeah, okay, they're going to have to start a new character, you know, so on and so forth. It's yeah. I mean, I think that's where I would say.
And also, if you create a community that people are proud to be part of,
Absolutely.
you're going to have a lot less of that cloak and dagger thing going on. Eve Rookies, we've been live for 2.5 years, 1,700 people, and we have banned, I think, 5 people. Because people enjoy being part of the community. We don't do drama, we don't do any of the toxicity or anything like that, so people just come, fly, and have a good time. It's really easy to promote leaders.
While waiting for another, I'd say drama, the earlier you can stop drama, the less risk you've got with the trust problem, I would say, as you and I know a little bit. Yeah.
Another question. Charlie mentioned it was maybe an issue to start a corp directly, or at the same time as a community. Where would you say is the risk in trying to set up a real corp between, or in difference to just setting up a community?
Okay, so the question is a corp versus a community. So I think there is no risk in one or the other. It's what your goal is in the game. Eve Rookies could be a corporation, but that takes a lot of time away from everything else you want to do. we decided to go the open community route because we didn't want to say, oh, no, you can't come fly with us because you're goons, or no, you can't fly with us because you're a wormholer. We wanted everyone to be able to participate and join, and that is our goal, is inclusivity. So if we were a corporation, then we'd really have to say, no, you really do have to leave that corp to come and join us. So, like say, in a day, it's what your goal and your intent is in your group. So one's not any better than the other, it's just your intent.
Yeah, but, sorry, we'll go, I don't know, I'm just stabbing in the dark.
Yeah, thanks. So, I guess my question is, when you're creating open communities and you're recruiting and you're welcoming people, sure, at the extreme, you sometimes get toxic people and you have to deal with that and things like that. But perhaps more common is you might end up with, in my experience, people who, say, dominate in a way that is counter to the kind of atmosphere you're creating.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that, and what's your approach to dealing with it?
So experiences with people that dominate the community. In EVE Rookies, we deal with new players. So usually they're very quiet and timid, and we don't have a lot of that. But I do know in the NPSI community, we do have those type of characters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's... Sin, I'll let you tell that one.
Man, I don't know if he's saying I'm one of those people or if he's asking me to. So, I mean, how do you deal with it? Look, Eve is fascinating. God, I sound like I'm answering it politically. Like Eve is fascinating because we come from different cultures, and also because something that is intrinsically involved in online gaming, right? We're all on somewhere on the spectrum somewhere, particularly if you play Eve, and the problem is sometimes they don't know they're doing it for sure. Like you have particular cultures might be slightly more in your face. Other cultures might be slightly more reclused and take longer to warm up. How do you deal with it? I think it is the responsibility of the senior, veteran, more developed people in a community to set the cultural patterns through comms over time. So if you don't stuff up local with lots of words, or if you do, like you doing that, people naturally, I guess, fall in line. It's like the whole, the monkey in the room, and you bring in the other monkeys, and the banana gets hosed. And if you don't know the one, Google it, it'll be fine. But there will come a point when eventually someone might not fit in. So in public communities, which we all kind of manage, run, or FC in, it can be harder to do because we are supposed to be open and welcoming. But absolutely in Bombs Bar, you might get someone like that, and it just takes time. And eventually, if they're completely not fitting in, you might provide some, I guess, mentoring on the side. And I would say the worst thing you can do is try and expose them in front of everyone, because people get quite embarrassed, anxious if they do get called out in front of their mates. And I would say the other bit is in closed communities, so like my community, eventually there might come a time when someone's just not fitting in, they're just not fitting with the culture. It's up to you as a leader or person on how many strikes you're going to give someone, but there is probably not, I don't want to say a month, maybe not a half a year goes by when I don't have to kind of bring someone into a channel and be like, hey dude, just letting you know, we'll do that. This is not particularly working out, like maybe try this, give them another chance, and if it still doesn't work out, it's just like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to recommend you go to another co-op. Take your stuff.
I think it also, sorry to just cut in there, I think it also goes on feel. You get to know people and you can read a room, you can see what they like. And I mean, just using FunInc as an example, I'm counting, 12 from Corp here, combination of Alliance and so on and so forth. We're actually a small Corp. We've only actually got, I think it's like 75 in the corporation. And for sort of 12 people to be here, I think it's amazing on the basis of the percentage of the Corp. And that's because we've created that environment. We're all like-minded people. We get on. I've known, a couple of the guys, sort of since 2004, 2005. That is a huge percentage of my life. It's a huge, percentage of where we've had those shared experiences. I trust these guys. It's just, yeah.
And also, lead how you want your community to be. As I had said before on my slide, none of the leadership in EVE Rookies is really overbearing or dominating. Everyone knows when it's time to lead and knows to follow, and the community has just fallen right into place. So, we have ambassadors, which are glorified moderators on our Discord, And the ambassadors are very proud of this, and they, set the tone, and yeah, everyone just kind of does their thing.
Someone over here had a question? Sorry, it's very hard to see.
I was just going to ask your opinion about, you talk about delegation and managing that delegation.
Oh.
When you form a corporation and you have a focus and you're lucky enough to recruit people into that focus, so you talk about delegation, where does the boundary come in? Whereas you want people to log into Weave and enjoy the game, but you also might need help and support, let's say logistics or fueling structures or setting up things. At what point where you say, there are opportunities opening up here for roles within the corporation, but people aren't brave enough either to step up, or you don't want to delegate it, where you're actually making either their job and taking away their fun out of the game.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with that type of decision management delegation?
Yeah, so the question's about delegation. So I guess to briefly summarize it is, where is the line between handing out delegation and taking someone's fun out of the game because they're going to expend their time and their resource doing it, versus I guess not handing it out so they can enjoy the game. Is that probably a fair summary?
Yeah,
the question?
you just don't want to delegate. You might see that a member is very good at something and excels at something, and you think, brilliant, maybe we can tap into that as a corporation.
Yeah.
But then what you've done is now you've put an ownership on them, and then they burn themselves out, and they won't say, hey, I'm struggling maybe, and what you'll find is that they're just not logging in as much, or you'll reach out and say, are you okay, do you need support in something, and they just don't log in, and then you have a problem, then you're losing membership who you don't really want to lose, you want to sort of benefit from their experience.
Yeah. I've got an answer ready to go.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of delegation. The joke within eRookies is, I try to delegate myself out of a job. It's like, oh, Kshal's not doing anything because she has everyone else doing it. I always look for people who shine and who can do the job. And then I pull them to the side and I ask them if this is something they want to do. Also, we have a great thing happening within the community. People are saying, I really want to do this. Can I help out? That's how I got my new U-Haul driver for the incursion focuses. He's like, I'm not doing anything. Can I move the ships? So just find somebody who is willing to do something and give it to them. But keep checking up on them. Are you okay? Do you need help? Because just like a real life job where your manager's delegating it out, sometimes this person's so fantastic, you're going to give them too many jobs and they just can't handle it anymore. Or maybe, you notice that they're slowing down and someone else is coming up that's going to be the star shining, kind of pass the torch. You just have to be hyper aware of that as the leader or leadership of your group.
Yeah, so I want to echo that, being hyper aware. So once you do delegate, and they might naturally bubble up, which has probably been my experience, is people just sort of come up and then start gripping into things. So that is great. But you need to just watch them and watch their activity, and then do check up on them. I'm okay at it in some areas, and I'll tell you some bad stories in a second. Bombers Bar is easy though. We just have roles on a Discord, and people can say, "Yep, I am willing to be a bridger. I'm willing to be a hunter or whatever." And even if they have a lack of experience, someone will take them under their wing. And actually, there's quite a bit of fun. I've found people actually probably play more when they're doing those sort of roles. But I guess you're talking more about the work, right? Like fueling structures, SRP maybe.
Sort of roles sometimes that corp CEO will take on himself, and I'm a big believer that you do the camel work, the donkey work, if you will, work that ideally maybe someone won't want to do, but then it's maybe your vision, so you take it on.
Yeah.
And I think what happens then is that a lot of maybe people that try and build a community or build a corporation can burn themselves out as well, because then all of a sudden they're struggling to find delegation, or struggling to find partners to delegate to, and then they end up taking it on themselves, but then you're not becoming productive because you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, when ideally, you prefer to focus on.
No, so you are right. I think there's an old proverb like a man can only carry so much or something like that, or the old camel, with the straw in its back type thing. But you just need to be aware of it. So leaders should be aware when individuals are logging in less because they're over focused on the harder administrative work that goes with the game or outside of the game and things like that. And I would also say people should be aware when their leader starts logging in less and less, because sometimes it does become overwhelming. And I mean, I like to get in fleets, FC fleets, and like, there's nothing worse for me than fuel and structures, handing out SIP cash, hauling in ships and all that sort of stuff. It's just hours and hours of work, or hauling loot out from an eviction alike. But it does need to get done. I think somehow you have to make the balance, and I probably can't answer the question, because sometimes you have more time than you know what to do with, and it's great, and other times you just don't, right? Yeah, and that goes for everyone, whether they're a leader or someone that's been delegated to. Yeah.
I think, can I just add to that?
Yeah.
I think like-minded people gravitate towards like-minded people. And just using Funink as an example, we've joked about this in the past, is that we're a corp of FCs. I mean, it actually got to the stage where, people posting fleets, and we had more FCs than there were days of the week. So your prime EU time zone, it was, who's going to post a fleet then? We had 3-4 people that were, could potentially post a fleet. And that is an amazing thing, because it gives you that flexibility to actually step back for a little bit. Just, right, I'm busy, I've got to focus on some real life stuff or what have you. So it then stops you from burning out. I mean, as I sort of said at the start of my presentation, I've been in gaming best part of 20 years, and I've never AFG'd, other than like moving house, relocations, that sort of stuff. So, and having that ability has allowed me to step back periodically and just take that check.
Yeah. Probably got time for 2 more, I would say. So, I don't know, I'm panicking now. Yep.
So that last question was about individuals who take on too much responsibility within a community and overreach themselves. Has there ever been situations in which a community as a whole has overreached and overextended itself to the point that perhaps multiple members have burned out, or a project has been viewed as a failure?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, I am sure there are so many of them, right? EVE's a long-term game. There are players that, as life creeps up on them, right, it gets harder and harder. And you're right, there are pretty veteran communities. Some of them even still come to Fanfest, but don't necessarily log in anymore, right? And groups of people that someone put their hand up. Are there examples? Yes. I would love to name a few, but it would probably someone on a stream somewhere would shake a fist or something at me. No, we're still relevant. But yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. Are there? I don't know if you guys want to throw examples out, but
Well, yeah, Nubro, probably, I would say 75% of the new Nubro corps that come out end up burning out precisely for that reason. They have all these great ideas, and they start out really strong. They get the Nubros in there, and then their leaders just kind of burn out because they're doing too many different activities too quickly.
Yeah.
Like say, EVE Rookies almost fell into that because we wanted to do the same thing. And then, we realized that, we need to just do one thing and let it scale up naturally. So yeah, I know many communities that have done many different things that have burned out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw it in the slides this morning in the data presentation with the lifespan of the different corporations and whatnot. How there was growth, there was depletion, so on and so forth. So that it's all that you're always going to have that growth and attrition periodically. It's finding the individuals actually to take those responsibilities on and just lead. Leaders. This will sound like a stupid comment, and it probably is a stupid comment. Leaders need followers, but followers need leaders. It's the two aren't mutually exclusive, and having that ability to identify, a Sin or a Kshal or a Keacte, within a group, and letting those people run with that, and having the ability to develop from there and keep the game vibrant for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where to go with the last one. I mean, you got your hand up first, so it's all yours.
So going back to what you said about us coming from different cultures in real life, let's say that I want to form a community in order to get in touch with people in-game that come from the same culture as I am. But I don't want to leave my corporation, or I don't want them to leave their corporation. I just want to, play with them casually. So if I don't want to create a corporation for that, what do you think could be some options in order to do that?
In the incursion community, there was actually a Brazilian group that I think that they're one of those that kind of petered out because of various reasons, but they were all different corporations, and they would get together. They would do incursions a couple times a week and go off and do their thing. They had a Discord, for communication, and that's really all you need. Is you just need to have a way to find players of the same interest and bring them in. There's absolutely no reason that you have to leave your corp in order to operate. A lot of open communities, we have a corporation to put alts in if we're going to share assets. So everyone can get into the corp hangar and wallet and stuff like that. But even at that level, if you're just going to go out and do some PvP or go shoot some rocks or do an incursion or fob or something like that, you don't need any of that. You just need that community hub and go.
And just to add to that, there's consistency of approach. When I've run fleets sort of since probably around about, I'd say probably since about 2015, and it was always Tuesdays, Thursdays. I know real life's busy. At the end of the day, if I've got that consistency of approach that people know that I'm going to log in every Tuesday and run a fleet, people will come. When I started funning back in 2018, we started off just roaming in the home of small game PvP syndicate, best syndicate, and 3 or 4 people would log in, and then that kind of swelled to 3 or 4, 4 or 5, 5 or 6. And if you get that consistency of approach, people will follow. People will come to you. And so I'd just say, just do it. As I said in my presentation, just if you want to do it, come and speak to me. I'll get the calendar set up, for you so you can integrate it. I mean, Major, massive shout out to Major, by the way, he's done all the legwork on the calendar. So, and
No, free plug.
and also Skip at home back in Croatia. They both obviously have done a fantastic job with that. We can give me your details. Tell us a bit about the group, what you do, how you do it. If it's PvP, whatever it is, and we can easily get it set up so that you can integrate that data through, and you will get people to log in. I mean, our Discord has got about 2,000 people on. It's not the biggest NPSI group, but there's a lot of visibility in it. And Kshal's Discord, and so on and so forth. So it's
And that kind of touches on working with other groups. EVE players, once they get into their little corner of the universe, they don't really want to talk to other players and reach out and stuff like that. Networking. Don't think EVE Rookies got to where it was overnight magically. It literally started out 1 day a week, 8 of us. Dual boxing stuff and incursions, and all of a sudden that one brave person showed up, and then it was 2 brave people, and pretty soon we saw the boxes going, and then it was just that consistency of logging in. Then we're suddenly 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. The Discord growing. I am always on Reddit answering people's questions and trying to direct them to what the project is. Streaming, YouTube. Basically, I am everywhere. So, I'm in other people's Discords, talking and networking and stuff like that. So it just starts out with that little seed, coming to EVE Rookies. Hey, I have this group. Can I post something in your Discord? Yeah, sure, go ahead. And then more people, and it finally just branches out and becomes a thing.
And I mean, just for instance, when I do run fleets, I always sort of say at the end of the fleet, I always say when the next one is, so people know. So it's like if I'm on holiday or whatever, So there've been quite a few instances where I've been away on holiday and what have you, and then I'll come to a Thursday, sort of 18:30, 19:30, whatever, and there's like 2 or 3 pings. It's like, what? No fleet tonight? Like, I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. So there is, it's having, and there's a great calendar where the information is. So go use it.
Yeah, and maybe if you're struggling to find people from whatever culture, community, country you're from, you could just start with like the EVE Discord. Discord has been amazing for EVE in the last little while. So you'd probably join that, start talking in your language, in your culture, whatever it ends up being, and you'll find them. And then it is pretty easy with the public fleets, the NPSI fleets. Like most groups don't mind if their friend, or their corp mate goes off and runs a Bombers Bar fleet. They might mind if you then start targeting, your friends that are actually out mining and telling us where they are. But if you want to, hit me up on Discord. We can have a chat. But that might, yeah, absolutely. And like if that might be a way. You don't have to leave your corpse. You'll find each other, and then naturally, and then you could even have your own little Discord set up, and you could sheep talk the FC. While he's FC on another comms or whatever. You can do a whole bunch of stuff to keep that click going, and then you could show up to a Raptor roam or a Bombers Bar thing or whatever, and then I don't know. I mean, that's probably how I do it. Like I talk to Aussies in all sorts of groups, right? And it's very rare that when I drop someone in Bombers Bar in AUTZ that I don't have someone pop up in local. It's like, oh, Sin's here, and then all of a sudden Discord's rattling off as we're trying to kill them, or their supers drop on top of us or whatever. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question though. I do think we have to clear off and get the others. It's actually quite flattering to have this many questions. If you do have more questions, like I imagine we're going to probably hang around a little bit.
Yeah.
After, and we're definitely going to be here this weekend. So,
one last thing before you all go, we're doing an NPSI charity raffle and brunch on Sunday morning, 11 o'clock at Laundromat on Lauga Vega. Okay. All proceeds to the local children's hospital in Reykjavik. Come along, come say hey. It's in the basement, by the way. We have to go. Yeah, so if you walk in, there's nobody there. We're actually downstairs. Cool. Loads of prizes and a few surprises as well, hopefully. So come along. We'll probably stick around. Might even go to the bar, get a drink.
I'm going to bring my beer and drink it somewhere.
I think you like drink.
I'm getting close. Yeah, absolutely. So thanks very much. Thank you. Hosts.
Good stuff, buddy.